I'm going to create an instructional video using a screen capture tool to demonstrate how to use the app. So you'd install the app from either the Google Play Store or in the future from install it to your Apple device. You're going to see there should be an icon automatically put onto your screen, and you can see it right here. It's the it's a target with a fork to the left and a knife to the right, and under it you can see the name of the app, MicroTargetDiet. So if that is not on your desktop, it will probably put it on your desktop automatically when you install the app, and you could find it under your list of apps. So you push that button, and this is the first screen that you're going to see. So it's going to ask you to choose your language. It will operate in this language then from now on. So you can either choose, at this point in time we have 3 languages available. You can either operate it in English, German, or Spanish. So I'm going to operate it in English. So I press the button in the middle. It's going to ask me to confirm that I want to proceed in English. So I would touch yes. And the first thing I'm going to see is a series of warnings. Basically, these warnings are intended so that people don't, whenever you start a diet, they always say that, you should consult a doctor and, it's for healthy people. I strongly urge you to go through these warnings. They're basically self-explanatory, but basically it's important things like, that you're in good health, that you don't have major health problems like heart problems or diabetes or, HIV, cancer, anything really serious. You should not be using this app or going on this diet. There's also a warning here, if for pregnant women, they should not be using this app or following this diet plan. Basically, it's for people between the ages of 18 and 65, in my opinion. I think those are the only people that should be using this app. So if you have any questions at all about whether this is appropriate for you to be using either the app or being on this diet, you should consult your doctor and ask if you're healthy enough to be on such a diet. So basically, you scroll down to the bottom and you say, I agree here. And you're going to see these 3 things right here on your first screen. Before we get into setting it up, I just want to show you how the menu works. There's 2 ways to call up the menu. You can either see in the top left-hand corner, you're going to see those 3 little bars beside the word, just to the left of the word MicroTargetDiet. This is my preferred way of calling up the menu. You just touch that and your menu is going to appear right here. Because I'm demonstrating it here, it's going to say that I'm in trial mode here. If I downloaded it from the Google Play Store and I was in my alpha testing phase, it would say that I'm on a certain number of days. I had a certain number of free days remaining, which is what you're likely going to see when you download it. It's instead of saying you're in trial mode, it's going to tell you that you have a certain number of free days remaining, after which time you would have to subscribe if you want to keep using the app. So you can scroll up and down here. I'm just going to briefly go through, and I will go in more details later, but basically the first one is view today's directions. That's where you get your daily instructions as to what you should be doing on that day, and that will change from day to day. When you press view the schedule, it will show you a schedule of days remaining until the end of your diet, whether that's 10 days or 3 years or 5 years or whatever amount of time you've selected on your diet. It will show you all of the remaining days, and it will show you the days that you can eat and the days that you will not be eating. View history shows the past 32 days worth of instructions. Basically, it captures, sorry, it fades after a certain number of seconds. It captures what, view history captures what view today's directions is telling you, and it captures 32 days of daily directions basically, and you can scroll to the left or right, and then you can see which you can see what has happened in the past 32 days. Set profiles I will get into in a minute. Set target date and weight we will also be getting to in a minute, and set sleep time. Those are the three things that you're going to need to set before you can start this diet and before you can start using this app, where it says set profiles, set target date and weight, and set sleep time. You will be setting all three of those simultaneously, and then you'll be starting the diet on the same day that you set those three things. Now, under that, where it says home, that will say home until you start the actual diet. Once you start the diet, that is going to change to restart diet, which is a button you would be using if for some reason you went off the diet for a while and then you wanted to restart it with new goals, new inputs, new weights. Whether basically it would wipe out what you've previously done and you'd be starting from scratch again. And then there's the instructions, which will take you to a hyperlink website where you'll basically be watching instructional videos similar to what you're watching right now. There are two ways, as I said, to get to this menu. You either press those three little lines up there, okay, or you can grab it. If you put your finger on the extreme left edge, okay, you'll see that bar come out like that, and then you can slide it out like that, okay, and then you can slide it back in with your finger. It's a little hard sometimes. If you have a screen protector, it may cover up your ability to slide it out like that, which is why I prefer to hit those three bars at the top. Okay, so you're going to see the three things in red here. Let's just review what it says. It says that I have not started my diet yet, and it asks me to go to the menu, which was what we were just looking at, and then it wants me to configure the three options in red here in this specific order. It is important that you do them in this order because you will be setting whether you want this app to operate in either pounds or in kilograms, and if you do it in the wrong order, that will not have been set in the stage that it should be set in. So the first thing you should be doing is setting a base profile, okay, at least one. Now, before you set any of these, you should plan it out so that you are setting these three things on the same day that you are starting the diet. And the reason you want to do that is so that your weight, your initial weight measurements that it uses to do its calculations for the app, you want those to be as accurate as possible, and you want your starting weight to be accurate. And if you weighed yourself today and set your profiles based on the weight today, and then you waited 10 days to start the diet, your weight may have changed, and that's not what you want. You want the most accurate starting weight set for your base profile, okay? Which means that you should pick a day in the future where you're going to have the time to set these three things, okay? And if you've never done it before, it can go very quickly, but if you've never done it before, it may take you a little longer. This is not something you want to be rushing through, and trying to get all three of these things done in 5 to 10 minutes and then still getting to work by 9 o'clock in the morning. You should, maybe you should pick a day off, Saturday or something if you don't work on a Saturday, or do it when you get home from work, okay? But you don't want to be in a rush when you're setting these things. You want to have the time to do it properly and correctly. The other thing I would say is that you have to realize that when you press start diet, okay, you set these three things and you start the app, you will not be eating on that first day. So you won't be eating anything. Okay, that's the nature of the app. Okay, on day one, you eat nothing. So you should plan ahead and make sure that the day that you are setting up these three things and pressing that start diet button, you won't be eating that day. Okay, so you can either set these three things and then not eat for the rest of the day, or you can just not eat that day and then get home from work and set up these three things. Okay, so with that being said, we're going to set the base profile now. Okay. The profiles can be a little confusing, okay? So you can see right here where it says set profile, okay? You're going to tap that like this, okay? And then this screen is going to appear where it says manage your profiles, add up to 5 different profiles by clicking the plus button here in the bottom right-hand corner. The profiles can be a little hard to understand if you've never dealt with them before, but basically what you should understand about them is they're there to make your life easier. The reason you can set up to 5 profiles is so that it makes it easier to track your weight wearing different clothing combinations, okay? Because the first profile you set is you are only wearing your undergarments, okay? And that's a mandatory profile number 1. Then you can set up to 4 other profiles wearing various clothing combinations, and by doing this, the app will account for the clothing you are wearing and the weight of that clothing, okay? So that's basically what you need to realize at this point. It will get easier in the future to understand why you're setting up these profiles once you've watched all of the videos, okay? But for now, basically understand that the profiles are there to make it easier for you and for the app to be able to account for the weight of the clothing you're wearing, okay? So I'm going to press this plus sign in the bottom right corner, and it's going to ask me to set up my first profile. The profile name is defaulted to base weight, okay? If I click on this, I cannot change it, okay? That is the name automatically given to it. Unlike the other profiles, numbers 2 through 5, you can name those, but you can't name this one. The first one will always be called base weight, okay? You also cannot change the clothing description where it says weight wearing only undergarments, okay? That is standard and you cannot change that. Now here in pink where it says enter exact weight here, I'm going to be tapping on that and I'm going to be entering my exact weight. So you need to be beside your scale that you're going to be using for this. And this is the time you're also going to have to choose whether you're going to operate this app in kilograms or whether you're going to operate it in pounds. I have always lived by pounds, so I choose to operate in pounds, but I realize that a lot of the world operates in kilograms. So we do have the option, and it doesn't matter which one you choose, the app will work just as well in either one. One is not better than the other, it's just whatever you're more comfortable with. I will say that you need to be very accurate here. You need to be using a high quality digital scale. Don't use a scale that's not digital, okay? You need precise weight measurements. It must be a digital scale. It will not work. This whole diet plan and this app will not work unless you're using a digital scale. You're wasting your time if you're not using a digital scale for this, okay? That being said, not all digital scales are sensitive enough. There's some out there that only measure to the closest 0.5 pounds. You don't want that kind of scale. They're kind of rare, but they are out there. You want the scale where it measures in increments of 0.2 pounds or less. And most scales out there offer that option, okay? The vast majority of scales, digital scales, either measure in increments of 0.2 pounds or 0.1 kilograms. Some are even more sensitive than that, but that's sensitive enough. You just don't want the one that measures 0.5 at a time. That's not sensitive enough. You will have noticed that the screen changed slightly here. That's because I tapped on the line where it asked me to enter my weight. I'm going to use my real life example here. When I started my diet more than 2 years ago now, and I've lost 80 pounds already on this diet using this type of app technology and these plans. I'm going to type what my weight was, okay? And my weight was 265 pounds. So I'm going to press 265, and if there's a decimal point after that, if it says 265.2, then you would enter 265.2. Whatever your scale says is what you enter. So I'm going to, as an example, I'm going to enter 265.2. Obviously that's pounds, so I need to touch the little button here that's going to say pounds. So right in the middle of that circle, I touch pounds, and it's going to light up with the little pink dot in the middle. And right now, I have set it for pounds, okay? You can either press done or save here. If I press done, that screen will go away, and I'm still going to have to press save. But if I press done, okay, then I'm going to get that. And then I would press save like this. And this is going to save this profile, okay? And right there, you can see we have now created one profile. We can create up to 5 of them. It is mandatory that you have at least one. The app cannot operate unless you have at least one profile. But you can create more profiles. And the reason you create them is to make it easier for you to operate the app and measure yourself, your weight in various types of clothing. My recommendation is for you to not create all 5 of them immediately. I would save one in reserve in case the situation changes or the weather changes and you're wearing a different type of clothes. I would suggest you create maybe 3 of them, maybe 4 of them. You don't want to create all 5 of them the first day. I would save at least one of them for the future so that you can add one in the future if your situation changes and the type of clothing you're wearing changes. So that being said, I'm going to show you an example of how to create an additional profile here. So I would create, I would press the pink button again, okay, and I just realized something. I forgot to tell you something, okay? When you're in your base weight here, okay, by the way, you can go back and edit this, okay? I know that I said this, but I don't think I made it obvious to you. When you create your base weight profile, you are to only be wearing undergarments, okay? That means you should remove the clothing, such as your socks, your shoes, your coat, your shirt, your pants, okay? All of the additional things other than your undergarments. When you create that first profile, you are to only wear, basically your underwear. And the reason for that is we are trying to measure the weight of your clothing with your other profiles. So that's why you need your first one to be only wearing your undergarments. While I've gone back to this screen, I will point out that at this stage, you can still change this, okay? If I touched this right here, okay, if I go on that and touch that line, I could edit that weight. Let's say that it was, I had put in the wrong number and it was really 265.4. I could hit the back button here and it would go back, and then I could hit that number right there, okay? and then I would hit next and save my new profile weight. Or at this point in time, it's not too late to change to kilograms, okay? If I hit the kilograms button, it would be weighing me in kilograms, okay? But I'm going to do it in pounds. Until I actually start the diet, you can still change these things, okay? So I've updated that to 265.4, and I'm going to hit next here. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Okay. The save button was off underneath the keypad, so I had to move it up like that to see the save button, okay? So I'm just going to hit save right here. And now you can see that I've updated it, and it now says 265.4 pounds. So I'm going to create an additional profile here. I'm going to hit the pink button, and this one I can name. Now I am going to create a clothing combination where I'm going to call this my summer clothing combination. So I'm going to just name it, my summer clothes. And I'm just going to say summer. Now, my description of this would be I'm just going to type in, and I can put a period after that. Shorts, and I'm wearing my socks, period, and I'm wearing a t-shirt. All right. If I wanted to go down and type down here, I could hit the enter key and it would go down like that. If I was wearing my shoes, I would be typing my shoes. But let's say I'm planning on weighing myself in my house, okay? I'm not planning on wearing shoes when I'm in this type of clothing combination, so I'm not going to be wearing shoes. So I'm going to erase the shoes here, and I touch weight while wearing clothing here, okay? So I'm going to hit this button, and it's going to ask me. Now, being that my weight in just my underwear was 265.4, I'm going to weigh more in this, okay? It has to be more than 265.4. If you tried to put in less than 265.4, you're going to be creating an error situation here. So it has to be more than 265.4. So let's say I step on the scale now, and I now weigh 267.4, wearing this clothing combination right here. And I hit done. And I'm going to, now you see that's already defaulted to pounds. I can't choose here because I've already selected pounds as what I'm going to be operating this app in. So all I have to do here is hit save. Okay, and you're going to see two profiles here now. It says number 2 is called summer, and summer adds 2.0 pounds. What this means is when I wear the clothing that is in my summer profile, it's adding 2.0 pounds to my base weight. So as I lose weight, let's say I'm down to 250 pounds in the future. If my weight in just my undergarments is 250.0 pounds, that means that when I'm wearing the clothing associated with summer, okay, when I'm 250 pounds in just my undergarments, when I add my my shorts and my t-shirt and my socks to that, it's going to add 2.0 pounds, okay, to my profile. Now I'm going to create my third profile, okay? I hit the pink button again, and I previously created a summer profile. In winter, it's colder, right? So maybe I want to create something called winter. Okay, so my clothing description for this would be different. Instead of wearing shorts, I'm wearing jeans. Okay, instead of wearing a t-shirt, now I'm wearing a sweater. Okay, I'm still wearing my socks, obviously, but I'm not wearing my shoes when I weigh myself. I'm not planning to, so I'm not going to put shoes on there. Okay. And now I go touch this weight while wearing clothing, okay? And now you would expect it to be slightly more because jeans tend to weigh more than shorts and sweaters tend to weigh more than t-shirts, okay? So I'm going to say my weight here is 268.6, okay? And I'm going to hit done and save, okay? And you can see here that my winter clothing combination is adding 3.2 pounds to my base weight, okay? So whatever my base weight is in my undergarments, my winter clothing will always add 3.2 pounds. And I realize that you're not going to be wearing the exact same clothing every day. The idea isn't to be 100% accurate to the, to the utmost decimal point. It's to get a general idea, a general understanding of what your weight would be in various types of clothing in general, okay? Yes, a different pair of jeans may be slightly different in weight than a different brand of jeans, or one sweater may weigh slightly more than another sweater, but the idea is to get a fairly accurate indication of what you would weigh in various clothing combinations, okay? Now I'm going to add one more clothing combination. For number 2 and number 3 tended to be perhaps at home because I wasn't wearing any shoes in those clothing combinations. Now I'm going to add number 4, and I'm going to say that this one is while I'm at work, okay? Which is a different type of clothing, okay? Let's say I'm wearing a business suit at work. So at work, I'm wearing my suit, okay? And I'm wearing my tie, and I'm wearing my shoes. Because, if you work in an office, people tend to wear their shoes all day long while they're in an office. Or if they're in a factory, they're wearing their shoes. In fact, at almost all jobs, you're wearing your shoes. So, this diet requires you to be on the diet at all times, basically. And there may be occasions where you need to weigh yourself at work. If, depending on your schedule and the situation, and that may be inconvenient for some people, but you know what? Losing weight is inconvenient. But if you're determined to do it, you're going to find a way, okay? Because this app and this method of weight loss works better than anything I've ever found. And if you're determined to do it, you'll do it, okay? And that's basically all I can say about it. So anyways, I'm going to put in one final weight here. This is, one final weight combination. And let's say in this, I am 268 pounds even. So I can put in the 0.0. It's not necessary, but I could put in 0.0 like that. And I'd hit done like that and save. And there's my work combination of clothes, and that's adding 2.6 pounds. So we still have the option to create one more profile. You can have up to 5. We've only created 4 of them so far, but as I said, I think it's best that you keep one in reserve because once you start, keep at least 1 in reserve, if not 2 in reserve. Because once you start the diet, you may find that you're a certain situation or a certain type of clothing combination you're wearing a lot, and you would like to have a profile for that. You would like to have the option to create that profile after the diet has already started. So we have now dealt with one thing of the 3 that were originally in red, because if we go back here and it says view today, if we hit view today's directions, okay, there are no directions yet, but you'll see we're down to 2 things here, okay? We're down to set sleep time and set target weight and date. We have created the profile, so that is now off of our to-do list officially. So now the next thing we need to do is create the sleep time, and I'm going to be demonstrating that next.